that sounds better. Of course he reads the Twitch chat. How dare you ask that question? It wouldn't be a Monday if everything wasn't fucked up. Happy Monday, everybody. Good to see you. I woke up this morning with unexplained water under my floorboards, which was cool. So I'll have a repairman coming out soon. Gotta love the new place. And my car is going to be far more expensive to fix than originally expected. So that's cool, too. Plus, they found some other stuff they needed to fix. So everything's going really, really well this morning. Thanks for asking. Happy Monday, everybody. It would be like this. On the day that Democrats chose to just give in and give up, it would be like this. Hopefully, the sound is better now. Sounds like everything is working on that end. Jen, are we all clear on the Discord end here? Great.
I mean, we'll see. We'll find out.
Time will tell. Johnny's joining us from the Infusion Center, chemo round 2. Good luck to Johnny, our friend, undergoing chemotherapy today for round 2. W Johnny in the chat. Johnny, we're thinking about you, and we're gonna give you a whole bunch of shitty news to cover today. I was looking this morning too. I'm supposed to be gone next week. Some of you know this, but every year I go to Mexico for my birthday. My family has my mom has a house in Mexico. I meet with my brother who has the same birthday as me and my other brother. We go down there and we spend a week just kind of hanging out, walking through a smaller town in Mexico. And now we'll see. I looked this morning. Phoenix had like 390 flights going out in Phoenix today, or just under. I guess it's 390. I think 100 have been canceled, and like 200 delayed. So can't find RTP on YouTube. I don't know what to tell you. It looks like there's people on YouTube. I don't know what to tell you.
It doesn't look like it's showing it as a preview on YouTube.
What are these people in the YouTube chat talking about then?
They're not. They don't see you. I can see you because I have the preview.
Holy fucking!
I wonder if I hit this go live button if it'll work. Should I try it? It's showing it as a preview on YouTube.
It shows up on when I go to YouTube. It shows up YouTube chat talking.
That's because it's you. Do you look in the corner? It says preview.
No, it doesn't say that. Yeah, people in the YouTube chat are saying they can see me. I think it's just you, Jen.
There's a whole.
Oh, go ahead.
There's a whole chat that people don't see you. Watch.
Is that the other YouTube?
No, I mean it's
like, is that the old one? Literally every comment I see says I'm in YouTube. I see you. Not one person in the chat that I'm looking at says that they can't.
You grabbed a different day.
No, it's live. I'm watching it live. I'm telling you.
There was another one scheduled.
All right, just look at the screen.
I see it. I see one that's live, but it's not the one that I have the background on.
So there is one that's live. Oh, I see. It's November 12th. Oh.
So that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell them to go to. Got it.
All right. Sorry about that. That's my bad. I forgot. How did that happen? Weird. All right. Well, fuck it. Here we are. We'll figure it out. Let's get started with the show. Wouldn't be Monday if I didn't screw things up. Here's what I was talking about though in Phoenix. This is KTAR locally here. Phoenix Sky Harbor International started the work week with widespread travel disruptions after airlines were required to cut flights due to staffing shortages related to the government shutdown. As of 9 a.m., Sky Harbor showed 100 cancellations and 390 delays for flights scheduled throughout the day. You can see here, it's just absolute chaos. If you're flying out of Sky Harbor. Pack a lunch. You're going to be there for a while. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Let's get you back over here where you belong. There we are. FAA announced last week that air travel in 40 high-volume airports, including Phoenix, will be reduced due to the amount of air traffic controllers calling out of work during the shutdown. Airlines were required to eliminate 4% of flights over the weekend, 6% by Tuesday, and 10% by the end of this week. So we'll see. So shout out to, is anybody watching from the airport right now? Do we have anybody in an airport right now watching this? That's good. If you are, DM me on Discord. Let's get a play-by-play of how it's going. This is kind of a cool tool that I found on Twitter. It's NASS status.faa.gov.list. This is the current airport shutdowns and delays all over the place. You can also get a map view so you can see the airports. Oh, Jesus, this went up. Uh-oh. When I looked last time, there was not as many. So we have, it says airport closure in LAX, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Seattle, Denver, Dallas, Fort Worth. I think that's Houston, Atlanta. Just delays in Miami or ORD. That's Chicago, right? Toronto, DC looks bad. Everything in New York looks bad. What is this? Providence? Rhode Island's not a real place. Boston. Looks like Vermont, everything's fine. If Fax is here, things are fine in Vermont. Only because there's no chance Vermont has an airport. I don't know if that's true or not. But if Vermont has an airport, they're lying about it. There's no way Vermont has a real airport. I think you can just go there and take a train to some other state that has an airport. I'm on the stream for the 12th. Oh, thanks, Johnny. Leanne said, sorry about the car warranty. Great way to end my road trip. No, not a warranty. I'm not a car person. I literally buy the cheapest cars I can get. I've always done that. I hate having a car payment. So I have just like a shitty Hyundai. I've run multiple Hyundais into the ground. This is like my third or fourth Elantra. But this is the first one that had problems before 200,000 miles. So that's devastating. And when I got this, I didn't know. I just bought the cheapest one possible. And there was some like lock mechanism that didn't work. And so they were apparently really easy to steal. So for a while, until I found a different insurer, I had to pay like $270 a month to insure a car that's worth like $7,000. So it now says November 11th and it's November 10th. Deal with it. We don't know, but we don't know a goddamn thing about dates.
I fixed it. Well, I know I was adjusting the dates. So
sorry, guys. This is 100% my fault, and Jen's just playing cleanup. So my bad. This was good, though. I had to watch the 49ers game yesterday. I watched the first half when the Niners were down like 300 trillion to 0, and I was just thinking how bad it was going to be having to talk to Cam today. And then I stopped watching. I was out playing with my daughter, and I came back in, and it was close. I was like, yay! And then I watched, and it was terrible. But at least you could have went to the Washington Commanders game, where Donald Trump will never miss an opportunity to try and get some publicity. I think he was swearing in members of the military, so he's reading the oath, I believe, at halftime. And this is a tough one, because I don't want to boo soldiers, but I do respect people's right to boo Donald Trump. And you just tell me. Fox reported this as a mix of a few boos and mostly cheers. Lots of beers, probably. It sounds mostly booey here. Also, I don't think state your name. I think he's supposed to say state your name, isn't he? Has anybody been sworn in? I mean, that's what it says, but they are supposed to state their name, right? I don't know.
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies.
It still isn't great at reading, but yeah, I wouldn't have done that if I were them. Johnny said, I'm from Rhode Island. It's real like Vermont. Now I don't believe you're real, Johnny. Now I'm starting to think your entire existence, Johnny, is a hoax. There's no way Rhode Island is real. There's no way that Vermont is real. I'm not buying it. Sorry. Then Trump got on the Fox broadcast. This is pathetic. Don't bring presidents on like this. I don't know if it's happened. Somebody told me it was the first president to attend NFL game since '78. I haven't. That sounds incorrect. They said since Jimmy Carter, but then Trump, because he doesn't know how to have a normal conversation like a human being, he's asked a question and he just goes straight into like campaign mode.
Respects to combat, war, etc.
Also want to point out these poor broadcasters. This puts them in the worst possible position. They can't push back on him. They have to act like they care. This is eyes directly on the ground. I feel bad for whoever these two broadcasters were.
Kind of take some of the same strategies. Would love to hear your thoughts about where we are as a nation, how we're doing.
Well, we're doing great, and recruitment is doing phenomenally. People have spirit. Our stock market hit an all-time high. Prices are coming down. We inherited a mess. Prices are coming way down. And I'll tell you, our country has over $17 trillion being invested in it, which is a record. So we're doing great.
Respect.
He just shows up and lies on TV. Just absolutely lies. He was at a regular season game in Pittsburgh last year. Yeah, that didn't sound right. Maybe there was something I missed there. It didn't sound right. Jeff said this is for another tight opening of the show. Fuck you, Jeff. We only started 15 minutes late. Stop yelling at me. Tired of it. We'll go late today. I'm not going to pick up my daughter at school today because I don't have a car. So we'll be able to go a little late today. It'll be fine. He's out of touch with reality. He's out of touch. Yeah, I mean, this picture that I chose as the background, this is an insane picture. I don't know why. Like, there's, I guess, been enough crazy things that have happened that we haven't talked about this. There's literally a person who passed out on the floor that got his feet up and maybe giving birth. I'm not sure. Maybe getting some gas out. What is he doing here? What kind of madman just stands there awkwardly while somebody's on the floor? He stood there for a while, too. I was watching the Red Zone and they cut him off. Oh, I'd love to see that. This is such a bizarre picture. And I notice all the doctors that he's hired to help him, they all went running away. They ran the cameraman out, which was fine. Not before they got a couple of pictures. But this is a bizarre photo. What is he supposed to do? I don't know. Look at the person on the ground, pretend like he gives a fuck about anybody. None of you would just stand there staring away from the problem. What kind? No human being does it. Donald Trump doesn't care about anybody. Like, that's been proven a million times. When he gave that weird Erica Kirk hug, he has no empathy. This is a total sociopath. If you don't think that's weird, I don't know what to tell you. You guys will just defend anything. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Defend's probably the wrong word. You don't have to defend it. But if you can't say that it's weird that when somebody went down, he just stood there looking in the opposite direction for a while. He thought it was an attack. He assessed it. He saw Oz there and said, I'm out of here. Yeah. RFK got the fuck out of there. And maybe he went to go get somebody. I don't know why RFK left. I think we make too much of it. This was the part to me that was just bizarre. That he just stood there like a dope, staring off into the distance. Managed to avoid pointing and laughing. He deserves credit. Good point, William. That's true. We're not giving him enough credit for not mocking the man sitting on the ground. That is a good point. I'm sorry. I take it all back. Donald Trump was a real American hero here by not pointing and laughing. What's that guy's name on The Simpsons? I wanted to say Wilson. It's not Wilson. What is his name? Who's the ha-ha guy on Simpsons? His diaper's responsible. It's full. Nelson. I was close. Ironically, isn't that one of like the side effects of like Wegovy? You can get lightheaded and nauseous isn't that one of the side effects? Wouldn't that be terrible? I'm scared of that thing. That drug seems like a wonder drug, and it would be great to just like take Wegovy and lose weight. But it does make me nervous a little bit. I don't know. We don't have a whole lot of data on that yet. I don't know how long for everybody on this side of the aisle, like RFK and Dr. Oz, they sit there and they talk about how we didn't have enough testing for the COVID vaccines. But like, if something makes you skinnier, fuck it. Just inject it, shoot it up. Surprised his fist isn't in the air. Fight! 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 Cuts his ear. It's a little trickle down there. I like cronies who don't faint. You've been on it for a year. Burned Out Medic, do you have the side effects? I know some people who've been on it for a while. I know a friend of mine, her hair got like thin. Her hair was like starting to fall out. So that wasn't good. And it feels like crunchier. Made my diabetes go away. Listen, I guess that's, if you're going to get nauseous every once in a while, but your diabetes go away, that seems good. The med made me sick. That's what I've just heard, that you get nauseous, and I have a good friend who's on it, and she gets really, really irritable right before, like when she's hungry, but she doesn't feel hungry. So she says like she'll get that. She's always gotten irritable when she's hungry, but she'll get the irritability and not realize that she's hungry. I think that happens with Adderall too. I've had that. The guy who fainted was the one who brought in to show the success of Ozempic. Yeah. Wait, he was? Like, has he lost a bunch of weight? Causes bone density issues? Causes eating disorders, maybe. I know Adderall does. If you know anybody who's ever got on Adderall for the first time, oftentimes they will lose an extreme amount of weight pretty quickly. Same with meth. Which they're kind of in the same family, so that makes sense. All right, moving on here. This was crazy. You should, if you get tricked every day, like if you regularly get tricked by AI, you shouldn't be allowed to be president. But with this president, it's fine. Trump retweeted some things. Wow, he says, breaking Doge halts. Doge, which doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know. They're like making this weird comeback. Halts yearly payment of $2.5 million to Barack Obama for royalties linked to Obamacare. Obama has collected this payment since 2010 for a total of $40 million in taxpayer dollars. He got a royalty deal. That's probably why Trump made Trump what is it, the TrumpPharmacy.org or .gov. He probably thinks he's going to get royalties on it for using his name. It's literally from DunningKrugerTimes.com. No, I guess not even AI, just like satire. You see that? DunningKrugerTimes.com puts this out. And Trump's like, wow, this is really something. He's the president. He's not your uncle. Yeah, you can go there. What is doesn't say what the page is here. I think they clipped it out. He's not just like a dumb guy. I mean, he is a dumb guy, but he's also the president. I haven't got to the shutdown yet. We'll get there. All right, on that. I'll stop crying. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry to bring that up. This is circulating too. I don't know. I think Elon has turned back on the bots. It was really, really difficult. Normally, like when I go through Twitter, if I find like the people that I follow, if I'm scrolling through videos, it's going to give me stuff that's on that topic. It's a way to, like, instead of scrolling through the timeline, it just gives me the videos one after one after one. We are having some struggles with the timeline today. It was all Republican nonsense. So you're going to see a little bit more of it today. But I wanted to show this video, which I don't know if it's new or old, but it's making the rounds today, so I want to cover it. Let me scroll down. I forgot to put it on the outline. Right here. The tweet is Rand Paul needs to see this.
What Antonio's helping out with the Social Security. So
now, I'm pretty sure this is when Doge was first starting out, but when they started announcing their fake numbers. Remember, they told you they were going to save, I think, $2 trillion. They were nowhere close.
Just trying to review Social Security, where you may have heard that we found 20 million dead people marked as alive in the Social Security database. This is so crazy. And then you'll notice there's a strange trend here.
Remember, those 20 million people were just people that, like, they had died, but there's this weird process where they have to actually file the documents, and they go and they get scanned into the final record. So it's not people who are getting Social Security. It's people who were dead, but they were still on the active rolls, but they weren't getting any money.
How many Social Security numbers were issued? Do you want to?
Yeah. So let me tell you what happened here. We started at the top of the system.
You want to talk about a lot of it?
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was.
I'm a little sad on that, Tevin Willis. I'm a little sad today. Thank you for bringing that up. Thanks for caring about me. It is a little sad today. It's been a tough news cycle. We got brown shirts in the street just beating up immigrants. We got a dysfunctional government that even though like Republicans are celebrating today as if the government has reopened, it hasn't. We got a president who can't read, who's reposting nonsense. Yeah, I'm a little bit sad today. Olivia, I know you keep saying that, but you understand, Olivia, of course, that the government's not open, right? It was just like 8 Democrats basically agreed that if it gets back to the Senate, that they'll vote to open the government. So don't tell Olivia. We might rain on her parade today.
And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff that we're working on. You've heard some of that already. But this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this
they don't know what they're looking at. Josh, we get it, bud. We're all gay. We get it, Josh. All of us are all gay. If you're a Democrat, you're gay. We're going to probably have to ban you now for posting that same comment 50,000 times in a row. We're all gay, bud. Come over and kiss. Come over and we'll kiss you.
This isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this country's been great to us. My brother and sister all born in Spain. I'm pro-legal immigration. This is not political. This is not political.
It is political. And watch them like slowly. I don't know if they like prepped this, but they're going to figure out. They're actually going to tell you what these numbers are. This is all you have to do for Republicans is convince them that a brown person is getting something, and then it's enough for them. And then they're all outraged. That's what this is. If you have millions of people coming to this country, millions, especially after COVID, and some of those people are going to come here and they're going to get the opportunity to work. So while they're waiting their asylum claims, some of them get the opportunity to work. They're given they're giving basically a Social Security number that doesn't entitle them to Social Security. It entitles them to work. That's what they're showing right here. And they're actually going to admit it, but they don't tell the audience what's going on.
This is about America and the future.
No, I meant brown people. I've seen how you guys treat Vivek Ramaswamy and Usha Vance. I meant brown people. I definitely meant brown people because none of you said a word when the white South Africans came here and were given expedited visas. You didn't say anything. None of you did. You all called them victims. I meant brown people.
Of America. And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed us in this direction. I want to honor them right now, that work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on. Yeah. So I want to stop for a minute. I want to honor those people today. Very good people.
None of these numbers were a secret, by the way. It's just their first foray into government. Anybody could have found these numbers. This wasn't an investigation. It's just like these are like publicly available numbers.
Very good people. I have been from D.C. to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
Yeah.
This number, what this is when you come...
Sorry, I'm laughing in advance because this gets so dumb. I still can't believe we hired these people to do a government audit. They got us nothing, absolutely nothing. They saved us no money. They cost us money. They shuttered programs that were forced to reopen, costing us hundreds of millions of dollars. Their amount of savings was somewhere around like a few $billion instead of trillion. And they gutted programs while Elon Musk and his friends got access to all our government records so they could go and outbid their competitors or underbid their competitors and get government contracts. It was all a hoax the whole time. And still Republicans think they did a great thing.
In the country, if you're illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid. They'll give you an asylum case. You'll get an interview. Then you get in. That's one way to do it. Yeah. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. I went to Laredo.
You tell me if you think this story's true.
And I went to Bronzeville. Elon went to Eagle Pass. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically.
Now, this is weird because if you're at the border and you walk up to a border agent and you haven't crossed the border yet, they won't just give you a note and let you come in. He's weirdly talking about like people who are encountered within 100 miles of the border. And that is a civil offense most of the time. Dems allowed 82 million people into our country in 4 years. Olivia. Nobody block Olivia. Please keep Olivia here. That's unbelievable.
They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border. They do what's called a release from your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, notice to appear, which is to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people, okay? So what happens then? Once you're in the country and you got asylum.
Also, 5.5. Olivia, we got bad news for you. Your friends here, Elon, they're saying it's 5.5 million people. And that's since like I think this started in 2018. I think we got a problem here with these numbers. Trump keeps saying 20 million. His own people are saying basically since where are we at? We're at 307. Let me go back here. Since 2021, excuse me. It's 2021 is 5 million. They're saying 20 million in the Biden administration. That number's not correct. And Olivia, you're close though.
700 of them. This is 5.5 million people. Okay? So what happens then? Once you're in the country and you got asylum through one of these pathways, and we mapped the whole thing out, you can apply for a document. You file a 765. It's the work form. You get this form called the 766. That's the authorization. And then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview. No ID.
No access to Social Security. That's it. This was just, what did you Republicans want? Did you want people to come here and get handouts, or did you want people to come here and work? People who came here legally through the asylum process, would you rather them sit around and not work, or would you rather give them the opportunity to work? I think you guys would want them to work. But then when they work, you complain that they're allowed to work. Make up your mind. So out of the 5.2 million, they found these are the Social Security numbers issued. These people were allowed to work. Nothing with an SS number goes in the mail anymore. Yeah, I don't know how they get those.
This is worth just reiterating. It's not people sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep. No. They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape. I don't know, Republicans, do you understand that this is just like a ploy? They just tell you this so that when they strip away your rights, when they do things like redistricting Texas and Florida and Ohio and Oklahoma, that you won't care because you think it's a reaction to something that Democrats are doing. This is a crazy thing to say. You guys have all said this, like, oh, Hispanic voters, those are turning towards Trump. Well, then wouldn't you want more Hispanic voters? Replacement theory, old, new, yeah. It's the same shit. You guys have been running on this forever. It's just that like now some rich people that didn't work in government started working in government and they said it and you believe it even more.
Look, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I'd have believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it, and Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion.
Guys, they just went into the computer and they were like, what should we do with immigrants? They keep saying illegal immigrants, but these are obviously legal immigrants because it's an asylum process, and they set it to max inclusion. That's what they set it at. They just changed the setting. The same way I had to change my microphone today. You just go into the Social Security and you change the setting to max inclusion. That's definitely a real thing that happened, and not a thing that they made up in their head.
Max pay for these people.
Oh, and max pay. Sorry. Max inclusion, max pay. Fuck, did you set it to max? It was supposed to be moderate. Well, I moved it to max.
And minimum collection. That's what's happening.
And
we
minimum
found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, as an example. We've gone through, on every benefit program we went through, we found groups from this particular group of people, this 5.5 million people, in those benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why. We're asking ourselves why. Right. And so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. And we found people here registered to vote in this population, yes.
And who did vote?
And we found some by sampling that actually did vote. And we have referred them to prosecution at the Homeland Security.
Where are they? Where's these prosecutions? They're lying. They're lying about all of this. These people can't vote. There's some states, like in California, where you can vote like in local elections. None of this is real. I just wanted to show that because it's recirculating today. All you have to do is lie about brown people to Republicans, and they believe it, as long as it's brown people. If you tell the truth about Republicans, they'll assume it was a lie. But if you lie about brown people, they'll assume that it's true. I want to go on though. This fight is real. Now, I make light of this, but I understand for like our Muslim friends, this is a very real thing that they're dealing with. We've left like Venezuelan, South American immigrants, and now we are on to the Muslims. We're going after Muslims. And let me say this. This is, what's his goddamn name? Jake Lang, a true American patriot and hero. He went to Dearborn, Michigan because they have the prayer call, the Muslim prayer call. It's like in the morning and in the afternoon. Now, if I lived in Dearborn, Michigan, I would be annoyed at this. For the record, I think everybody should be allowed to worship however they want. I would not like living in a city that played a prayer over a loudspeaker, any prayer. That would annoy me. I don't think that I have to participate in your religion. I think, I don't know why. I mean, I know that Dearborn, Michigan has a large Muslim constituency, but I actually kind of a little bit agree with the Christians here in saying that, like, it seems like you're favoring one religion there. I think that that's silly. I don't think that you should do it. I would oppose it. If the city wants to do it, they have every right to do it. The people should be able to vote. But this made me laugh because this is what this hero did.
Americans, we have found the head of the snake.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to live in the Vatican either. Yeah, like I don't like church bells. Also, I don't want any of those. I don't. I lived in Utah, in downtown Salt Lake. Sometimes they'll play like over the loudspeakers where the church owns. They'll play like church music. I don't like it. I don't like any of that stuff. I think it's a fair criticism. I don't think that you are Islamophobic or Christian phobic if you don't want to hear their music while you're out and about enjoying your day. I have no problem with that. Read Jamie's comment above. Where is it? I live in Dearborn. The constant church bells I hear all the time. I do not hear the call. Okay, that sucks all the way around. You hear all. Anyways, here's this big hero.
This is where our country turns against us. Guys, we're here in Dearborn, Michigan, and as you can hear, there's a very loud public prayer call, jihadist prayer call. Look at this right here. You're
telling me this isn't? So did he dub this in? They don't play a prayer? Are you guys, I don't know. I didn't research it. I assumed that this was correct. Are you saying that they're not playing this prayer call? I hear it.
Angel, people are trying to sleep. This happens every day. 5:56 p.m. or a.m. today. This prayer call woke all these people up. Now we're in the afternoon prayer call. But we've got something in store.
I don't know why he's so out of breath.
These people. I've never known. Jesus is King of America. Jesus is king. Thank you, God. Jesus, we pray your spirit over Dearborn, Michigan, that you would break the demonic chains of Muhammad here. Lord God, we ask that you bring your spirit here.
Now you got to hear shitty Christian music that sounds like R. Kelly and the prayer call. If you're within 200 feet of him, you can hear it. This was his bravery. He went all the way to Dearborn to hold up this sign with his little speaker and do this. All right, I'm going to check. Does Dearborn, let's go to Perplexity. Does Dearborn, what do we call that? A prayer call? It's loading. It says they do. Yes, they have mosques that broadcast the Islamic prayer over loudspeakers, typically 5 times a day, which is audible in surrounding neighborhoods. This practice has become a topic of controversy. It said the city prohibits it between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., so that 5:45 would be wrong there. And they're required to keep sound levels within legal limits. Okay, so yeah, they're not breaking any norms. I guess anybody else can play their music at that same level or their calls at the same level. Schools do that, I guess, when you have like the school bell. It's not a big deal. Yeah, it would annoy me, but I would just deal with it. I'm with you there. But I appreciate these Christian American heroes going out there and playing their shitty Christian music to try and play over it. I came across this video. It is clear that not only do conservatives not know what socialism is, but they have no interest in learning what socialism is, because what they've decided socialism is just anybody getting something for free, and that all socialists want stuff for free. This Canadian woman, in decrying socialism, accidentally admits that this system fucking sucks.
I get the most ridiculous comments from liberals, and this is one of them. The reason why you hate socialism is because you're privileged. Without it, I wouldn't have food or a roof over my head. Now, I hid her profile, and the reason why I did is because I don't want people going over there and like bugging her. But you honestly think that...
Also, bad excuse. Like, you can hate socialism without being privileged. Bad comment.
That hard work is privilege? Do you understand that I haven't slept in 2.5 days? I just drove from Midland all the way to East Texas, and I'm not even done yet. As you can see, I'm hauling like a truck. Hold on, let me see. As you can see, I'm hauling a truck. There's 40, I should say probably 50 mile an hour winds, crosswinds all the way. So instead of a 6-hour trip, it just took me 8 hours to get to this new site so I can like drop off a bunch of equipment. And then I have to go back to Midland, work an entire night shift, get off tomorrow at 5 in the morning, and then spend another 4 hours doing invoices. And or how about the privilege when I worked 5 months on with 0 days off, 15-hour work days, and I did it without complaining.
Yeah. That sucks. That fucking sucks. That's a bad system. You had to do all of that. What are you on snow? Yeah. You don't sleep. You're driving on in order for you to make ends meet, you have to drive sleep deprived with 50 mile an hour winds on our roads. I don't know that this is the flex that she thinks it is. This sucks. This is fucking terrible. Not even she chose that. She might have chose that job. She might work for herself. That fucking sucks. I don't have any life at all, and I'm risking my life every day to make ends meet. Fuck socialism. David said, as a kid growing up in a small community, we would have Catholic churches ring their bells like 5 times a day. I don't really see a difference. Me neither, David. I don't see a difference with that. And I would be the same amount of annoyed, just mildly annoyed by it.
And then when I did go on days off, I went and flipped houses. Yeah, why? Because I have an addiction to work, but I guess that's called privilege now. The worst part is I get taxed up the ass because of people like you, so you guys can have your $10 daycare, a day daycare or whatever, so your kids can be fed, so that you can go on welfare, so that you can go to the food bank and
No. You work that hard to make a living because it takes that much to make the living that you're making, because you can't just work 40 hours a week to make that living. You have to do this. And by the way, somebody is profiting off of all of her labor. For any Republican that's here, let me just explain to you. you work and you understand that when you work and you put in time at work, you're the one that's putting in that time. Nobody else is putting in that time for you. It's yours. It's your time. It's your effort. Wouldn't it be nice to own that labor? So the work that you put in, if it leads to more profits for the company, wouldn't it be nice to share in the profits for that company? Socialism is simply just saying nobody gets to own a majority percentage of your labor or 10% of your labor. Like, you get to negotiate what your labor is worth. And if your labor leads to profit, you get to share in that profit. It's allowing you to be your own business rather than your labor being owned by someone else. That's what socialism is. If you like going to work and busting your ass and watching your boss do nothing and then get bonused while you're on salary, maybe you start thinking about socialism. Maybe the problem there is that you don't own your labor, that the company owns it, and then they get to distribute it to whoever they want, which is going to be the executives and management, but not you. They've decided your labor is worth this amount, and no matter how hard you work, you're going to get paid the same. That's what socialism is. This idea that like handouts is socialism and like get other people's money is socialism. Like, capitalism is getting paid for other people's labor. That's what capitalism is. And socialism's the opposite of that. All Republicans would have to do is read something, but they don't want to do that. They want to watch this video of somebody who works hard. And there's probably some dude out there in Louisiana who's working, 60 hours a week, working overtime. And this resonates with him because he's like, yeah, dude, I work hard. I don't like people that don't work hard. I have to bust my ass to feed my family. Yeah, but that's because somebody's making a bunch of money off your labor. That's because you don't get to share in the profits there. Wouldn't it be nice to work 40 hours and share in the profits and have a little more time with your family? Or maybe you could get a hobby or not die when you're 55. You guys advocate for a system that literally trickles down scraps to you. And all these rich people who are just getting handouts from you, you think they're the heroes, and that the people who might get some government subsidies to pay for food or shelter, or in this case, childcare, that they're the problem and not the people who are making all the money off your labor. It's weird. If Republicans just allowed their voting base and their states to be educated and to learn the difference between capitalism and socialism, I don't know that there's a single person in Congress that understands the difference between capitalism and socialism. Socialism is literally taking for those that earned it to give to those that didn't. No, Sean, that's capitalism. Good fucking Lord, Sean. Good fucking Lord, Sean. How does Jeff Bezos get all of his money? Is it because he earned it? Or is it because a million other people are working and he gets he gets the majority of the profits from what they did? It's the opposite. It's the opposite of what you guys think. True capitalism, you pay $0 tax? No, capitalism has nothing to do with taxes. It's about labor. I think mostly you guys just don't understand how economics work. Your taxes are based on taxes. Socialism can have 0% tax. Socialism can have low taxes. Socialism could have high taxes. Capitalism could have low taxes. Capitalism could have high taxes. What you're talking about is republicanism, that they've convinced you is capitalism. They've just rebranded, they've packaged everything together, and they tell you that it's capitalism, but it's not. History doesn't show communism the way you're explaining socialism. Watch history on Marxism. You just said 3 different things. That's like saying history doesn't show World War II the way you're explaining Vietnam. Watch the Civil War. You just said 3 different things there. This is crazy. What do you read? Well, just look. We're just going to look up what is socialism. We're gonna show this to you, okay? If we go to Google, what is socialism? Socialism is a political and economic system where the community or government owns and controls the means of production. Now, see here, the community or government owns and controls the means of production. Depends on how you want to do it. You can have community control of the means of production, or you can have government control of the means of production. Some examples in the United States where we've done government control of the means of production would be the state of Utah, the state of Arizona, where they did socialism, but the state government controlled where the resources went. Not a big fan of that. I just Google stuff, guys.
Are you able-bodied? Of course you are, because I went through your entire Facebook page. You are completely able-bodied, and you can work, but you choose not to because you're lazy. And that's exactly why I hate socialism.
Okay, let's Google capitalism then. You said capitalism means you own your own labor, right? God, it's 101 shit here. Capitalism is an economic system characterized by private ownership of the means of production and the operation of markets for profit. Private ownership of the means of production. That means you potentially could own your own, like me, right? I have private ownership over my production. I work for myself. I'm self-employed. So whatever I do is what I get paid for. But if I hired, like for example, Jen, I paid Jen, but I pay Jen a certain rate. So Jen, for example, I benefit from some of Jen's labor and I try and pay her a fair fee. But I own it. I own this product. That's capitalism.
It breeds laziness and content, and then people like you call people like me privileged.
So, Jesus, socialism doesn't have taxes. You don't have to have taxes for socialism. You can have 0% taxes. I'm telling you, guys, none of you have figured out how any of this stuff works. Taxes are taxes. You can have high taxes under socialism. You can have low taxes under socialism. Socialism is about the ownership of the production. And if you have government control over the ownership of production, then yeah, you're probably going to pay some taxes. Those taxes can be anywhere from low to high.
Yeah, even though I haven't slept in like forever and I'm just running on coffee, Red Bulls and whatever, and it's completely unhealthy for me. But hey, it's privilege, right? As long as you get to sit at home, get your nails done and like not have to go to work. By the way, your kid's old enough they're going to school. Like you can even try and get a part-time job, but I bet it's so much easier just to sit on your ass and collect, taxpayers' money. And instead of calling me privileged,
But that's welfare, right? That's not socialism. If somebody's not working, they don't own their production. There is no production. That's not socialism. That's just welfare. It has nothing to do with socialism. Now, a lot of states where people like socialism have welfare programs like that. But that's not socialism either. You don't have to have those types of programs in socialism. That's just a choice that our country's made.
should actually be thanking me because I pay a shit ton of taxes because I work a lot. And I mean a lot. Now, I'm not complaining. I love working, okay? I love the freedom that work gives you and the hard work and the feeling afterwards. But, the fact that you guys are so delusional and have made it into this, working is a privilege now while you sit at home and collect the tax money that I pay into. Wild. The NDP even gave you guys free dental. Where do you think that comes from? It comes from taxpayers. And eventually that money will run out because people like me either leave Canada, so are corporations, so are businesses, and then who's going to pay for all of it? It's not going to be the government. That's what the collapse is going to be. It's going to be because of socialism. Jeez.
No, it's not. It could be because people don't want to work. You could collapse an economy if enough people don't want to work. But we don't live in a socialist country and we have these massive programs. The very thing she's complaining about, she's like, I left Canada because of this. It exists also in America, but Canada's socialist and America is not. What's her tag? Truth Seeker 01011. Some people sit at home. We shouldn't say that. There are work requirements. There are people who game the system. There are people who stay at home. It's just a waste of time to focus on those people. It's the concept, republicanism is punching down always. Never punch up. Never blame rich people for anything. It's always punching down. Punch down at immigrants, punch down at poor people, punch down at marginalized people, punch down at religions that you don't like. It's always punching down against marginalized groups. That's the difference between the two of us. They mock us for having compassion for people who are marginalized. And they think that that is weakness and they say it all the time. Empathy is weakness to them. Stacey said those billionaires are getting government subsidies. Yeah, far more than anybody else. Greg says she's breaking so many U.S. DOT laws. If it's true, it's not. Yeah, she probably is. If it's true, she's breaking the law for sure. Check these, and then I got to update as well. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded, so anything you could do to help us knock out our gift goal every day would be greatly appreciated. You can see the pay apps there at the bottom or the top, depending on where you're watching, as well as super chats and our gift goal in the top left corner. That's how we pay the bills around here. What's up, Jen?
Hello.
Hey.
Things are going okay so far, it looks like. That's not getting all weird. Which is nice. How was your weekend?
Pass.
Pass?
Pass.
What?
Pass. Tony said job interview today. Says Tony, wish me luck. Good luck, Tony. No, you cannot.
Why?
What are you doing right now?
I asked how your weekend was.
You stop this right now.
God, you never want to. I hadn't talked to you all weekend.
This is the worst.
We can't just check in and say, how was your weekend? You didn't ask how Spawn's cheer stuff went. Whatever.
You could have checked in with me all weekend.
Fine. It's all right. I see how it is. I don't really want to be my friend like that. I get it. Whatever.
Who put you up to this? Who is this? What is going on?
Nobody.
All right. Go ahead.
I can be an asshole on my own.
Yeah.
So. Anyways, but no, I was just wanting to remind everybody that we do have our members only event later tonight. We said 5 Pacific time. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, 5 Pacific. We're gonna watch Newsies.
Yep. So I put it, and so how we're gonna watch that is whether you're a paid subscriber, whether on TikTok, Twitch, or YouTube. Yeah, you have to join us for that. You have to be in the Discord. So if you're a paid member somewhere and you're not in Discord, mod. So if you guys can raise a hand so that someone can message you to get a link. And then also, you need to link your Twitch or your YouTube to Discord to be able to join. So if you guys need help with that, get in the Discord. Let me know. If you're a paid member, get that done, because if you're not linked, then you won't be able to join. So there's that. And like Jay mentioned, you want to update the gift total? Goal total? So we have an action.
Yeah, I would like to do that. Sorry, I was looking at something else. Thank you for the reminder.
Cool. You do that. So if you want to join for that, then you can subscribe or membership. It's called memberships on YouTube. Subscribe on Twitch. I haven't mentioned this recently. If you are a Twitch subscriber, or if you haven't subscribed on Twitch, you can use your Amazon Prime sub, so you don't actually have to use your own funds. You can use Basis' money. So there's an option for that. So yeah. So gift goal, $3.19, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats. I'll go towards knocking out that gift goal, like Jay mentioned. Check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify.
People are saying you sound hot, Jen.
Cool.
Yeah. How's that feel, Jen?
I just said cool.
No, I'm just kidding. We all love you, and you are wonderful. I appreciate all the hard work that you've been putting in lately, and I appreciate how much you care about each and every one of us.
You're so stupid.
Yeah, there it is.
Nah. No. Anyways, so I found this longer joke that I'm going to go with, because I feel like it needs to be. A man's filling up his car with gas and accidentally gets some on his hand. He doesn't notice it, and he gets into his car and he lights a cigarette. His arm instantly catches on fire.
Oh, shit.
The man sticks his arm out the window and begins to wave it around, attempting to blow out the flames crawling up his sleeve. A policeman sees the man struggling with his arm on fire and arrests him on the spot for an unlicensed firearm.
I liked that one a lot, actually. Have you seen that guy? I just barely saw him this week. The guy that just stands on the corner and says, "Tell me a joke I haven't heard," and he just ruins everybody's jokes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're all. They're the type of jokes that are. you don't necessarily know. They're not okay to say all oftentimes. So.
Yeah, I love that he's just ruining people's lives.
No, I saw one of those the other day. It was funny.
All right, get out of here. All right, let's get to the government shutdown. I want to start with, we'll get into it in a second. I want to start with part of an interview that Gavin Newsom did on CNN this weekend.
States, but think about the state of mind of the vice president. How do they honestly, how do you square the circle when you go to a prayer breakfast? How do you square the circle? I mean, Old Testament, New Testament. Well, what's the fundamental thing that connects from John to Matthew to Proverbs? It's this notion of hunger, feeding the poor, the sick, the tired. It's not an option, it's central to advancing God's will. I mean, the fundamental point that we'd be using, because this is what it's about, and the federal government said it in the lawsuit, that they want to use it as a bargaining chip to end this shutdown. That's shameful. It's never happened in U.S. history. And I appreciate the governors, the 23 AGs that stepped up and sued, and we've won those lawsuits. Now we need to win the heart and mind of the President of the United States, not just the Vice President of the United States, to do the right damn thing. So
things are so busy that I think it's gone underreported that when it came to SNAP benefits, Trump didn't have to do that. He didn't have to cancel SNAP benefits. This was one of those things that and Republicans, I guess, just don't know how any of this stuff works and they don't care. But Trump specifically pulled SNAP benefits to hurt people to try and end a shutdown. He was comfortable with the poorest among us, those who needed food. He was comfortable inflicting pain on them to get Democrats to cave. And for what reason? I don't know where Olivia went, but Republicans started off this live today bragging about how they won, which the government is still shut down. It's not open yet. We've seen 8 Democrats fold. But where's is there any part of you that has stopped and reflected and said, we shut down the government and we took away SNAP funding so that billionaires could keep a tax break? And you could actually reverse it anyways. Like, the billionaires are still going to keep that tax break. We're just going to go into more debt. That's what's ultimately going to happen here. If we restore the ACA subsidies, which is, I don't even know if that's going to happen, then that'll just be additional spending. But they're not going to go back and undo the tax breaks and the tax loopholes for the billionaire class. That's the reality of what this 40-day standoff has been. It's been Democrats saying, look, there's going to be millions of people in this country who aren't going to be able to afford to go see a doctor. They're not going to be able to afford health insurance at all. And Republicans saying, too fucking bad, Donald Trump won, eat a dick. And then when that wasn't working, Trump's like, all right, let's make it worse. Let's take away SNAP benefits. And all throughout that, Republicans have been coming out and like, oh, well, there's 20% of SNAP benefits who shouldn't get it. Or there's people getting Medicare that shouldn't get it. There's people abusing the system. Not one Republican went out and talked about the people who weren't abusing the system and the real harm that they were going to do to people who needed the system, who benefit from the system. It was just an entire focus on, look at these poor people who abuse the system. Even if you were to take them at their word that those numbers were correct, which they haven't backed up any of those claims. Even so, they were willing to let people starve. They were willing to let people hurt. And they're willing to let people hurt and legitimately die so they can protect these subsidies for the billionaire class. And we still have to have arguments with Republicans like they're compassionate, like they're actual Christians. That's a good point there by Newsom. And I think he should keep referencing the Bible. Here's what Chuck Schumer had to say yesterday after the 8 Democrats voted. And I'll get to the 8 Democrats who voted and some of their words. Here's what Chuck Schumer had to say on the floor of the Senate.
Premiums will spike by thousands of dollars a month. Millions will lose insurance. Democrats have sounded the alarm. We have demanded...
Weird how God doesn't feed the hungry himself. Yeah, it is weird.
...for months to meet with the Republican leadership. But Republican leaders refuse to even discuss the issue, let alone negotiate it. We've asked them to meet in the summer and throughout the shutdown. To this day, Republicans still say no. We asked President Trump to step in and meet with us to deliver lower health care for Americans, and instead, Donald Trump has taken the American people hostage from cutting off food, aid.
Why wouldn't Republicans, do we have any here? Republicans, why wouldn't you negotiate here? Why did you refuse to negotiate this? Why are you still continuing to refuse to negotiate this? This is what Americans want. Cliff, I'm asking you. Are you calling people with health care American citizens? Are you calling them terrorists? Why won't you guys negotiate this? Why do you think Republicans refuse? Even now, Mike Johnson's saying, yeah, we're not going to restore those subsidies. They're trying to tell you that there's people who are getting these subsidies who don't deserve it, but not a single second of their time has been spent talking about the people who desperately need it to survive. They're only talking about perceived abuses of the system. Why? We don't negotiate with communists. Yeah, you just call people communists, and then you allow poor people to hurt. This is what I'm saying about you guys. You don't care at all? The people are going to lose their health insurance? You don't care at all? The people that needed SNAP? Like, some people's SNAP is as low as $10 a month. $100 to somebody who's living paycheck to paycheck, like, that's the difference between feeding your kids and not feeding your kids. And you won't even negotiate it. You just want to talk about somebody who might have abused the system. Why wouldn't you take care of the people who are hurting first and then address the system? Why didn't you address the system in the one big beautiful bill? If there were all these problems with SNAP and with Medicare and with the ACA, why didn't you address it in the one big beautiful bill? Why didn't you address it after the one big beautiful bill? Why have you proposed no legislation to fix these glaring problems? It's because they're not real. They're lying to you, Republicans. They're all lying to you. If this was as big of a problem as they claim it is, wouldn't they do something about it? No. It's not a problem. They just wanted to cut money to give handouts to their friends, and they're hiding behind waste, fraud, and abuse. They've been doing it this entire time, and you are too, just like Jesus would want you to. Hey, guys, if poor people need food, just call it waste, fraud, and abuse, and then give that money to rich people instead. I think that's in Matthew chapter 6, I think.
To hungry families and vets and seniors and kids, to manufacturing flight cancellations, to cutting off home heating aid, while he builds a billion-dollar ballroom with gold-plated toilets. Therefore,
I don't know why I'm saying $1 billion ballroom. Here's my problem with Chuck Schumer. Besides the fact that he's not an effective leader, he plays the same stupid fucking games that Republicans are playing. You know what you do when you say that, Chuck Schumer? When you call it $1 billion ballroom with gold-plated toilets, which, if you fact check, that's not true. People get to focus on that part, and they don't focus on the rest. I'm tired of Democrats playing politics too. I'm tired of it. That's not the issue. None of us give a fuck about the ballroom. None of us. That's not the important issue right now. My only concern about the ballroom is like, is this a way for Trump to funnel money? But right now, that's not important. But that's why he's feckless. That's why you don't negotiate with Chuck Schumer. You can't get on the floor of the Senate and say dumb shit like that while there's a real fight that's been going on. There's been real people in Congress that are fighting to get this done. And Chuck Schumer shows up and reads a pre-written speech that it isn't true.
Therefore, I must vote no. This healthcare crisis is so severe, so urgent, so devastating for families back home that I cannot in good faith
I'm with you, JV.
Support this CR that fails to address the healthcare crisis. But let me be clear, however this vote turns out, this fight will and must continue. Democrats must fight.
What fight, Chuck? As far as I can see, like, you're still in the walkouts. You haven't left the locker room yet. What fight? I haven't seen any fight from Chuck Schumer. What's wrong with and what is wrong with this, Tyler? That's a good question.
Fight because of millions of families will lose health care coverage. We must fight because children who are dying of cancer will not get health care coverage. We must fight because a senior citizen cannot afford to pay $25,000 a year just for health insurance. We must fight to keep millions from financial ruin. And make no mistake about it, the American people know who is inflicting...
That's fair, Nico. Chuck Schumer's the best Dems have? Seriously? Yeah, no. He's one of the worst. I don't know why he's in leadership still.
...this health care trauma on them, Donald Trump and the Republicans. Americans will remember Republican intransigence every time they make a sky-high payment on health insurance. So we are going to fight legislatively, fight back home, fight in the courts, and bring this fight in the elections. Health care costs made a major impact on the 2025 election, and they will certainly have an even greater impact on the 2026 election.
Why are you talking about elections? That, like, it's a fair criticism. People criticize the Democratic leadership and say, like, I mean, when Mike Johnson, and I'm going to play Tim Burchett here in a little bit, like when they get up and they're like, this was just a political game. I think to Chuck Schumer, it's a political game. I think it is. I think he's viewing this as like, oh, good, now we can win the midterms. Oh, good, now I'm going to be able to raise a bunch of, now I'm going to be able to fundraise on this. Yeah, that's a good point, Esky Bob. He sounds like them. When they say Democrats are only doing this for politics and then Chuck Schumer gets up and makes a fucking political speech, it's kind of hard to defend the Democrats.
So in conclusion...
Oh my gosh, are we finally bitching about centrist Dems who go their way to clench defeat from the jaws of fucking victory yet? Sick of these enablers who serve as contained opposition. Yeah.
The contrast between the two parties is crystal clear.
It's not. It's not crystal clear. It's not. You look like them. It looks like there's some people on the left that want to fight for what's good for the people, and some people on the left that don't. And clearly the Republicans could give a fuck about people, but we already knew that. We already knew that Republicans don't vote to help people. We were clear on that. It's all about fighting for the rich. But if Chuck Schumer thinks this is clear right now, you got to go out and talk to the people. I got more DMs yesterday than I think any day that I've ever done this. And I apologize, I didn't respond to any of them. It was overwhelming the amount of DMs I got about this yesterday. Nobody's happy with Chuck Schumer.
Republicans are the party hell-bent on taking people's health care away, all to bow to the billionaire elite and special interests. Democrats are united as the party of lower health care costs and improving our health care system. We will not give up this fight. We will deliver for the American people.
How, Chuck? How are you going to deliver, bud? What's your plan? You're just going to stand up there and say, we're going to fight? We're going to deliver? The people will remember at the midterms. Yeah. And until then, people are going to go hungry. Until then, people are going to lose their health care. Then what are you going to do? You're going to win an election and sit around and not do a goddamn thing again? We already did this. Why haven't you guys fixed Obamacare? Why haven't you fixed the ACA? Why are you not fighting for universal health care? The ACA is like kind of popular. Universal health care is very popular. Why don't you do it? Oh, well, we have these donors to worry about. Feckless. There's a difference between somebody like Chuck Schumer who's playing politics and somebody like Bernie Sanders who's trying to do stuff for people. Here's the difference.
Understand that the way the process has been developed, it is impossible to delay the votes that are going to take place. And if that were not the case, that is certainly what I would do, because I think it is important that the American people fully understand what is being voted on today. Everybody in America knows that our current health care system is broken, it is dysfunctional, it is cruel, it is by far the most expensive healthcare system in the world.
When he says everybody knows that, that's true.
Thanks for the sub.
Republicans acknowledge that it's too expensive. Democrats acknowledge that it's too expensive. They all acknowledge that the ability to use it is too expensive. 100% of people in this country agree that our healthcare system is broken. And about 30% have a solution. And the other 70% are like, what if we just keep saying, keep acknowledging that it's too expensive and not do a goddamn thing? You got Bernie Sanders, you got AOC, you got some progressive Democrats with a plan. And then you got 70% of Congress who's just like, oh, it's bad. Should we do universal health care? No, we should definitely not do that because we're afraid that we'll get primaried because of the word socialism.
And the only healthcare system of any major country that does not guarantee healthcare to all people as a human right.
We're number one.
Woman and child. We are unique in that respect. And yet tonight, what this Senate is about to do is make a horrific situation even worse. So let's be clear what this vote is about. If this vote succeeds, over 20 million Americans are going to see at least a doubling in their premiums in the Affordable Care Act. In my state of Vermont and throughout this country, for certain groups of people, it will be a tripling and a quadrupling.
That means they're just going to get rid of health care. That's what it means. People can't afford it. And the hell of it is, like, this actually is the GOP plan. The reason that the GOP doesn't want to address this is because what they legitimately believe is that if you take enough people off of healthcare, this is going to free up revenue from the healthcare companies, and they hope that the healthcare companies then do the right thing and lower prices. But why would they do that? They want more people. This also allows, if premiums go up, people that get ACA subsidies, if they can't afford it, even with ACA subsidies, then they'll drop off, and that means the government's not paying those subsidies anymore. So let's say that you have health insurance. It's $800 a month, and you qualify to get half of that subsidized through the ACA based on your income. So you're paying $400 a month, and you're making ends meet. You can pay your rent, you can pay for groceries, you can pay for gas, you can pay for your health insurance. Then it goes up by $400. Well, I mean, it's $800, and we're saying it's going to go up at 20%. So let's say it goes up to $1,000. That means you're paying $1,000 instead of $400 now. You don't have that. You're barely making ends meet. So what are you going to do? You're going to drop your health insurance. What does that do for our budget? That means that $400 subsidy that you qualified for is no longer being paid out. Republicans have been honest about this the whole time. They say that too many people are qualifying for the ACA subsidies. There's too many people that are getting help paying for their bills. And so we got to let these ACA subsidies expire, get people off the rolls. And then, and even the people whose like ACA subsidy won't expire, theirs will be too expensive. Now, to be clear, what they're fighting about is the ACA subsidies that were added during COVID. So during COVID, under the Biden administration, they granted ACA subsidies up to 4 times the poverty rate, which is like $30-something thousand. So basically, I think it went up to like $130,000. Anybody making $130,000 or less, you were going to be able to qualify for some sort of subsidy through the marketplace. They want to get rid of that. They want to get rid of that extra contingency, and the prices are going up. So not only are you going to lose that, which is less money the government has to pay out, but these other people who were just on their regular subsidies, their prices are going up, so you're going to lose some of those as well. This was always the Republican plan. This is what Democrats were right, but they were never able to communicate this during the One Big Beautiful Bill in a way that at least got some Republicans not to vote for it. Because nobody believes it. Nobody believes that our government, for whatever reason, I think this is maybe a privilege of being an American and a privilege of living in this country, that we've always just kind of like found a way to make it work. But it's unsustainable. And the irony is that the Republicans understand that it's unsustainable, but they don't have a plan to fix it. So their plan is to just let people not have health insurance and hope that the free market, that the private market steps in and offers something else. There was what is his name? I don't remember how to say his name. The receiver from the Lions. He's now pushing like this Christian healthcare thing that is like a cost sharing. And I've used those in the past too. That's what they hope is going to happen. They hope that Americans figure out a different way. They don't actually have a plan. But even then, like it's not like we could just do universal healthcare and it's a better plan. You could just do Medicare for all and it's a better plan. Free market will offer junk plans. Facts.
Of their premiums. There are people who will now be paying 50% of their limited incomes for health care. Does anybody in the world think that makes sense? And if this resolution is passed tonight, we are on a pathway to throw 15 million Americans off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. 15 million. Our job is to create universal health care. Guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child, not throw 15 million people off the health care they have, low-income and working-class people. And my friends, know what you are voting on. Studies are out there that when you throw 15 million people off health care, some 50,000 of our fellow Americans will die unnecessarily every single year. Anyone think that's funny? Something to laugh at? Something to just go past? I don't. 50,000 Americans die unnecessarily. Now, I know.
Burned Out Medic said, my older brother is a conservative cop, and I got him listening to your show. He says he appreciates your unbiased, nonpartisan, fact-based approach to the issues. Oh, thanks. Welcome to Burned Out Medic's cop conservative brother. It's good to have you here. I don't understand how that message, like, it doesn't work for Republicans. I don't understand how what you guys are seeing here. You guys want the worst healthcare in the world? You don't want help paying medical bills? Every one of you is one emergency away from either not making a living anymore or being saddled with medical debt. And at the same time, the Biden administration went and they made sure that you couldn't medical debt wouldn't ruin your credit. The Trump administration has quietly undone that. They want you in debt. They want going to the hospital to be something that ruins your life. And I don't know why. I honestly, honest to God, I talk to Republicans every day in my own life. Honest to God, I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing. I don't know why you're advocating for this. Nobody's ever been able to explain it to me. This seems like one of those like own the libs thing. You're just comfortable going along with whatever Trump does because it makes us mad. But there's no plan. There's no Republican plan. Let's talk about the Democrats that went for this. Just a reminder, we are crowdfunded, so anything you can do to help us knock out our gift goal every single day would be greatly appreciated. You can see the payment apps there below the screen or above the screen, depending on where you're watching. And, of course, Super Chats. I'll read anything that you send. We want to knock that out by the end of our live every day. Here's one of the Democratic senators who voted for this. This is Angus King, which I believe is Maine. Is that right? Is Angus King from Maine? When I play these, I want you guys to just listen and figure out, like, do they have a plan? If you're going to vote for this, if you're going to vote to end the shutdown, do you have a pathway forward? And I've yet to hear a pathway forward. Oh yeah, he identifies as an independent. That's right.
I don't want to land at an airport in the United States with a sleepy air traffic controller because they're working double shift.
Real quick, you said, I am also 60 and I agree it was better before Obamacare. Yeah, healthcare gets worse every year. Stop blaming Obamacare. Look at the numbers. Before Obamacare, costs were rising faster. After Obamacare, costs were rising slower. And then when we saw the massive increase in pricing, it was after the Republicans gutted Obamacare. Please, guys, do your research. Please stop playing politics. Stop just like everything. There's nothing that isn't more expensive now than when Obamacare was introduced. Name one thing in your life that's cheaper since Obamacare was introduced. That's just the way it works. But you have to go look at what caused these things. It's cause and effect. Don't be so simplistic that you think Obamacare is what broke it. It's not. Private health insurance should not be legal. It shouldn't exist. Every other country says that's a stupid way to do it, and they're all right, which is why we have the one of the least successful but most expensive policies when it comes to health insurance. Back to Angus.
I don't want to land at an airport in the United States with a sleepy air traffic controller because they're working double shifts. So any good general, if the strategy isn't working, you change tactics, and particularly you change tactics if your own troops are at risk, and that's really what's happening here.
Why are the people taking a flight? And this goes to show, like, this is why Angus King isn't a progressive. This is why he sides with Republicans. He saw people not getting paid going to work and thought that's more important than the millions of people who will no longer be able to afford health care. He made a choice. And it's one thing if you reopen the government here and you had a plan for the AC. They don't have a plan. And they're going to admit in a second that they don't have a plan. They just were like, oh, well, these people aren't going to work. They're not getting paid, so we have to open the government. You chose air traffic controllers over people who can't afford health care. Be honest.
There was collateral damage to the American people.
But both are important, Oregon, which is why we should negotiate. He chose that those were the only important part.
At the same time, the goal wasn't being achieved. So we're going to change. We're going to change.
I'd also argue that the goal was being achieved. Every poll in the world showed that Republicans were losing on this issue. They just got wiped out in these special elections. And not to play politics, but like that pressure to do the right thing, it was working. You just gave up. You bailed out. You had a free run to these end zone and you stepped out on the 30 and said, I was never going to make it anyways. Let's just kick a fucking field goal. You quit. It was working. By what measure was it not working? That Donald Trump kept saying that he wasn't going to back down, that Mike Johnson, like you could hear it in Mike Johnson's voice. Every day he went to the podium and he knew that they were being blamed. He was cracking. Republicans in the Senate were cracking. You guys were cowards.
The narrative, and now we have a guaranteed vote within the next month on the ACA tax credits drafted by the Democrats that the majority leader has agreed to bring to the floor. That's a big deal.
No, it's not. It's not a big deal at all. They're just going to say no. And then what are you going to do? You're going to be like, well, we ended the shutdown, we brought the bill, and they said no, but, you know, we did our part. Now they're the ones that are responsible for it. Well, they were already responsible for it. So what good did your bill that they're going to vote no against do anyways? Now, if I'm wrong, and I could be wrong, I could be. Maybe there is this understanding among this is our best case scenario, that Senate Republicans quietly told Senate Democrats, hey, this is hurting us. It's hurting our constituents. We will vote to extend these ACA subsidies, but because Trump is Trump, we have to let this government shutdown we have to let the government shutdown end, and we can't give anything away because Trump is an egomaniac and he has to win this. So there is a scenario where there is a plan behind closed doors that Senate Democrats say they're going to vote for us, and then Trump won't care because then he still wins. He still got to win the shutdown, and his ego is the most important thing to all Republicans. Because his ego is what keeps you on his side. Like if you stroke his ego, he's on your side. So there is a scenario where this works out. I know it's a little doom and gloom today, but they're asking us to trust him. And they're not telling us that Senate Republicans have told them this behind closed doors, which they wouldn't tell us. But then once again, like we don't get transparency because Trump is a toddler. If that's their plan, that would be their excuse. Oh, sorry, we couldn't tell you the plan because Trump's a toddler. Cool.
And it gives us a chance to put the Republicans to the test. Are you going to work with us on this issue or not? In the midst of the shutdown, they just weren't talking.
So Bernie Sanders and other progressive leaders have said that you and other moderates that have voted to reopen the government, going to cause great damage to the Democratic Party, and many will see it as a betrayal, and that voters will remember next November. What do you say to Bernie Sanders?
Well, I think what I'm saying.
MAGA are suffering. Dust said MAGA are suffering from ruined lives and bad health already. Misery loves company. That's why I think they don't give a shit. I just think that their whole identity is tied to Trump. The people that are celebrating this in the chat, the Republicans, like if you notice, all they say is "we won." Lib tears. They have no idea what they like. They don't know what they were fighting for. They don't know what this was about. They just know that Democrats caved, and it's a team game for them. I think it's a lack of education. I don't even think it's like they understand this and they want the damage to be done. I think they legitimately don't know what's going on, and they trust that Republicans are just going to be right and that Democrats are just going to be wrong.
The thing is, what was your strategy, man? What was your end game? If we're going to extend the shutdown another week, another month, through Christmas, Thanksgiving, is that going to get us anywhere?
Yep. Yeah, it would have. It would have. It was working. The only leverage that Democrats had to make sure that these healthcare subsidies didn't expire so that at least 20 million Americans weren't going to see their healthcare premiums double. The only leverage, because Democrats don't have the House, they don't have the Senate, and they don't have the presidency, the only leverage they had was to make Republicans hurt, make Republicans hear from their constituents. That's it. Now there is absolutely no leverage. Now you have to hope that Republicans do the right thing. And why the fuck would we expect them? They cut these subsidies out. Every one of these Republicans who's saying we'll do the right thing, they had the chance to do the right thing earlier this year, and they chose to make these cuts knowing what was going to happen. So why in the world would they cut this? Or cut a deal now? Why would they suddenly come to their senses? Maybe they will, but I don't trust them.
The point is, there never was an end game if the initial strategy didn't work. And now we have one. We're going to have, as I say, a guaranteed vote on the ACA. And it may not succeed. I grant that. But a reasonable chance, 10, 20%, 30%, is a lot better than 0%, which is where we were as of yesterday morning. So I understand.
I'd like him to explain that math. Before the vote, it wasn't 0%. There was some percentage chance that Republicans would cave. And you needed leverage, and you needed their own constituencies to be upset with them in order to get them to cave, because what they're fighting against is what their constituents want. I mean, this is the battle for Republicans. What do the American people want? They want the subsidies extended. Why aren't Republicans giving that to them? Because Donald Trump said no. So you had to create a scenario where they cared, or figure out a way to make them care more about their constituents than Donald Trump, and you were getting there. Now they don't have that. There's no mandate. They don't have to do anything. I'd like to know where he's getting these 10, 20, 30% numbers. I don't see it that way. I mean, I used to be a professional gambler. I think that the chances of you getting these subsidies passed went down. Like if you were setting betting markets, the chances are lower now than they were before. There's no evidence at all that they are getting something for this, other than they're going to get to bring a bill and say, oh, look, Republicans voted against it. That's no different than us saying, oh, well, the Republicans voted against it the first time. We already know they're going to vote against it. They did it already. We know their names. It's all of them.
And everybody wants to stand up to Donald Trump. Everybody wants to deal with the ACA tax credits. I do.
Pete Habers, Donald Trump does not listen to we the people. 70% of Americans want these subsidies to keep going. He doesn't listen to any of you. You listen to him and then you adopt what he says. You're all so fucking full of shit. Every one of you that's fighting for this, and this is what he listened to us. No, he didn't. You listened to him. And this is how you guys have always done it. This is what Republicans do. You just wait for Donald Trump to tell you what you think. Then you say that you think it. And then you're like, look, he's doing what we ask. No, it's always him first. He tells you what to think first, and then you run with it. And then you're like, yeah, he's doing what we ask. No, he's not. He's literally just like walking you around with a leash. And you're like, yeah, this is actually me. I'm walking him. Now it's around your neck.
Two, the question is this the right tool to do it. And it's becoming counterproductive, and you can't ignore 42 million people not getting their SNAP benefits.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, because Trump chose to do that. It wasn't a byproduct of the shutdown. Trump said, I'm doing this. I can pay SNAP benefits. The courts ruled to make him. He was going to lose those court cases. I know that Ketanji Brown Jackson stayed it, but it was the right move. It was the right move not to take that up to the Supreme Court, so she stayed the order. But like, Trump was going to lose every single one of those. Does Angus King not know that the SNAP benefit payouts were not caused by the government shutdown, that you absolutely could still pay those? Apparently not. So now we're supposed to trust you? You didn't even know what was going on? You don't even know why SNAP benefits weren't going out? Somebody said check their pockets. Yeah, that's fair. Now here is Senator Hassan.
My vote today was to do two things, both equally morally important and imperative. One is to make sure that the government is functioning so that our kids eat, so that our elderly citizens eat, so that our air traffic controllers can get some sleep and earn money, get paid while they are working, so that our veterans are protected, and continue the fight to a realistic platform to get the premium tax cuts done.
So why wouldn't Republicans negotiate for any of that? Why did you guys just take it? Why are you pretending like this is untenable, like it's impossible? The reason that those people aren't being paid is because Republicans won't negotiate. So why did you cave? You got nothing. You got a promise that you're allowed to come to the Senate floor for a bill that Mike Johnson said he won't even bring to the House floor. You got a ceremonial attempt to pass a bill on the Senate that the House is already guaranteed to shut down. You got absolutely nothing.
And if that is not successful, then shame on the Republican Party and shame on Donald Trump.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't realize that they were going to get some shame. Oh, never mind, guys. Sorry, fuck all of us. Guys, we shouldn't be mad anymore because shame on them. Right? If they don't do the right thing, then shame. Never mind. I'm sorry. Let's shut the fucking show down today. Never mind. Republicans did the right thing. These Democrats did the right thing. I didn't know. I didn't know that we were going to say shame on them. My bad. Boy, do I feel silly being all upset when I didn't know we were going to be able to say shame on them.
But the American people will see who stands with them on health care and who does not.
Yet not you.
And that will be the platform of the next stage of the fight. I hope we can find bipartisan agreement on an extension of those premium tax credits. In New Hampshire, couples who are 60 years old or so, earning $85,000 a year, are seeing like a $15,000 increase in their insurance premiums. This has to get fixed.
Oh, good. And what did you get to fix that? Oh, nothing? You got nothing? Nice. So you're aware, and then you gave up all your leverage so that the Senate will talk to you? You guys can talk about it on the floor while the House says, we're going to reject it? Nice. Wow. The negotiating chops of these 8 Senate Dems, really impressive stuff. Danielle said, I got my benefits in Massachusetts on the 9th. That's good to hear.
And we have about a month to do it before the harm gets to be irreparable. And again, if the Republicans can't come to the table and do something reasonable on this and make sure that people can afford their health care and that the whole...
Yeah, they're not. They didn't come to the table. They gave you nothing. They're still not at the table. And you know what? After you guys announced this, they asked Mike Johnson. We'll get to it in a minute. And Mike Johnson was like, I don't fucking care. Yeah, I don't care what they say. We're going to just keep doing whatever we want. We're not even going to put it on the floor. Congrats. This is why everybody's upset. It's not about like, Trump won the government shutdown. What did you get? You got nothing. And 70% of Americans wanted you to get something. And you caved.
Private commercial market also doesn't see skyrocketing increases, then shame on them.
Oh, good. Oh, double shame. Oh, fuck. That's great news. We're going to say shame on them twice. All right, Cortez Mastro, she's going to give us the plan. Certainly there's something new here. Certainly she's going to say something different.
This fight tonight is, I agree with Senator Angus, is just the beginning. This is the beginning to show and fight.
The best way to start a fight, I always liked this. Like, I'm a big fan of MMA fighting, and I know that the best fighters, what they do at the beginning of the fight is they lay down and tap out. That's the best way to begin a fight. This is just the beginning. Yeah, you quit. You threw in the towel. You tapped out. You took a knee. Yeah, that's the best way to start a fight.
For Americans across the country. Let me just say this. With the government open, we can focus on passing a full bipartisan budget for 2026 that starts with a minibus that will restore funding that President Trump cut. It delivers millions of dollars.
The House cut it too. And the House says they're not going to restore it. You're only the Senate. It doesn't matter what you do. You can't pass this bill. They're telling you they will not pass this bill. Somebody said that must be the airlines funneling money to them. Yeah, it's got to be. I don't. The more I watch it, this is the second or third time around I've watched these clips. Every time I watch it, I'm like, oh shit, it was even more pathetic than I remembered.
And critical funding to states like Nevada, all across the country. And you will hear, blocks the administration from future rifts. We have an opportunity also to put Republicans on the record on the ACA. Do they really?
Oh, good, because everybody checks the fucking record. That's how people vote. Oh, I wonder what my senator. Nobody knows where to find the voting record. I've never talked to a single person in all the years we've done this. I've never talked to somebody like, well, the way I choose to vote is I go and I find the voting record of my senator. And then I go through each bill, which is fucking impossible to do because you got to go bill by bill. And then you got to figure out what the bill's about because all the bills have silly names. And then you got to dig through and figure out why they voted for certain things. Yeah, for sure. This matters a lot. People are definitely going to care who's on record. This is like afterthought stuff. This is like political stuff. This is like in a primary, I get to knock my opponent's head with this. Most people have no idea what their senators voted for.
Are they committed to doing this? Are they committed? Leader Thune said he would come to the table on a health care once the government was open, and now he must follow through. If Republicans want to join us in lowering costs for working families, they have the perfect opportunity to show the American public.
No, because all they promised to do was hear you out. They didn't promise to negotiate with you. They just promised that you guys could write a bill and bring it to the floor, and that's it. They didn't promise anything more than that. Ryan said, Democrats stealing defeat from the jaws of victory again. This is why we lose. Steve says, does the government shut down in mid-December? I don't know. We'll see.
I expect Republicans to be at the table in the next few weeks. I expect the White House to be at the table. And if they do choose not to come to the table, they can own the disastrous premium increases that will continue to rise.
Oh, okay, good.
They will own the fact that Americans across this country are going to lose access.
They already owned it. Did you look at a poll? Every poll said Republicans were owning this. And every week the poll got further and further away from them not owning it. Every week, Republican polling said, this is them, this is them, this is them. And it was growing every week. Great. So you got something, you negotiated something you already had. You negotiated new leverage that you already had. Dope. Great stuff.
To healthcare. We were elected in the Senate to work on real solutions that help working families.
Yeah. And you got nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right, last one here. Here's Shaheen. Pull this up. Certainly, there's going to be a plan here.
With Bernie Sanders, and there are other progressives who disagree with the vote that many people took, that Angus King and others took last night. But at the end of the day, will Democrats stand shoulder to shoulder and get ready for that next battle in January?
I believe Democrats will stand shoulder to shoulder because we understand how important it is for the American people to have affordable health care prices. And, you know, it's not It's not just blue states that are affected. Red states are affected too. And so members of Congress who say they're not willing to vote on these premium tax credits need to be paying attention to their constituents. I think we can get a bipartisan bill out of the Senate that will address this issue. And if not, we know that
Why do you believe that? Like, what makes you think that you're going to get support from? They've already voted against this. Like, I just want one of them to explain why they think they're going to get that. They've all said the same thing. They think that this is going to work. Why? Can you just please tell us? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Great, but please give me some reason to hope that you guys have a plan here.
voters are going to know who's on their side and who's going to hold them accountable.
Yeah, we already know that. Somebody said play Tim Kaine. I didn't see his video. I haven't seen Tim Kaine speaking about this. I know he was late. Let's see if I can find it. All right, let's find this. I haven't seen this one yet, but let's take a look.
Are going to change in their position.
I didn't fully understand how dug in they were, again, because I was so focused on the Virginia elections. I wasn't in this discussion on the healthcare to see how dug in they were. But even as I was not part of these discussions, I was saying to Thune and others on the floor going back, listen, I need, some of you heard me say this in the hall, I need a moratorium on mischief. Others are working on the healthcare thing. I trust them. Others are working on the approach thing. I trust them. I need a moratorium on mischief, because if we vote to open,
What? What? I didn't know what was going on. I just trusted some people, and I need a moratorium on mischief. That sounds like some Harry Potter. Isn't that how you open up the map on Harry Potter? He said. What's he talking about? I have no idea what he's talking about. I cover politics for a living. I have no idea what he's talking about.
and the immediate step next week is Donald Trump fires a lot more people, it's going to blow up trust to get the full year deal.
Moratorium on mischief. It opens up. Mischief managed, and it closes back down. I have no clue.
And so I've been preaching this moratorium on mischief for a month, but I think partly why did they finally give me the moratorium on mischief on RIFs? They needed my vote, but they also.
Bro, what the? I'm gonna have to look this up. I have no moratorium on mischief. What is moratorium on mischief? Does anybody know what this means? I've never heard this term. A moratorium on mischief is a political term for a temporary suspension of potentially harmful government actions. Oh, he coined it. Okay. That's why I've never heard it. It refers to a temporary halt on actions considered mischief or mischief-like, such as mass layoffs or federal employees, and can also include a freeze on previously appropriated funds being recalled. Okay, so he made up a term and said, I need this. Cool. So nothing. He doesn't know what he voted for, and he needed a moratorium on mischief, which is something he completely made up. Now, I played Senator Shaheen. Senator Shaheen has a daughter named Stephanie, and she's running for Congress in New Hampshire 01. She went to Twitter, and she said this: improving healthcare has been the cause of my life. It's why I'm running for Congress. So I cannot support this deal when Speaker Johnson refuses to even allow a vote to extend healthcare tax credits. Too many people will see healthcare costs that are already too high skyrocket even further starting in January. This means more people will be uninsured, unable to see a doctor in times of need, and risk bankruptcy because of diagnosis. We need to both end this shutdown and extend the ACA tax credits. Otherwise, no deal. It's essential to ensure people have access to healthcare, and it's past time to put paychecks back into people's pockets and food back on families' tables. Her own daughter's like, Mom, you got to go. And then here's Tim Burchett, this sucks. I don't like when Tim Burchett's right. I think Tim Burchett was right here, and it's hard to listen. It's hard. Everybody take something to settle your stomach. Tim Burchett's right, at least for 8 of these Democrats.
Hey, everybody, Tim Burchett. Out with the dogs here this morning. Hey, early video, but I want to tell you what really is going on in Washington. This has absolutely nothing to do with feeding hungry kids or providing health care for poor folks. All it has to do is power and control. And you've seen it every dadgum time. And the Democrats They can't stand Trump. They can't stand anything that he does. If, you know, he walks on water and saves some drowning kid, he says, oh, he violated our water rights.
This is called projection. Nobody opposed this because they don't like Trump. If you, Larry, good to see you, bud. If you think that this is why people oppose things, then like I just don't think you're listening. You think I do a 3-hour show every day, 3.5-hour show every day just because I don't like Trump? And we haven't even really talked about Trump this entire time. Sometimes we cover things because I don't like Trump. Like earlier when I showed Trump being booed, that was because I don't like him. Yeah, shuck it. But like, this is just projection. You guys just worship him. You think everything he does is great. And a lot of the stuff he does, you can't explain. So when we oppose it and you think it's great, but you don't know why you think it's great, you assume that we're all as dumb as you guys are. This shutdown, it happened because Trump said, let's make it happen. But we just wanted to negotiate. We just wanted subsidies to be extended. That's it. That's what this shutdown was about. If you like, I don't know what to do about you Republicans if you can't come to the table and agree that that's what we cared about. Nobody was just saying Trump. Chuck Schumer, obviously, he was playing politics. I think Tim Burchett's right about Chuck Schumer. I don't know if it's about hating Trump. It's about power. I think it's right about these 8 people. There are Democrats who are playing the game, and fuck them. Fuck every one of them. But like, this is just like a glimpse into the mind of Tim Burchett, who like Trump could just kick him in the dick, and he'd be like, I've been thinking I actually really did need that. I've been needing a good dick kick.
I mean, it's just the most ridiculous stuff, and they're blaming Trump. Trump had absolutely nothing to do with any of this. It was pure Democrats. They voted, 15 times now to close the government, and they finally got enough courage to do what was right and vote to do it. And now they're ostracizing them, Colin.
What principles does Trump have of yours, by the way? Whoever just said that. Sadie. Trump has principles? I dare, let's stop the chat real quick. Name one principle Trump has. Name one principle you think he has that he doesn't decimate. Don't tell me America first. It's never America first. Money, that's not a principle. That's just, yeah. Trump doesn't have principles. Anybody who is when people say stuff like that, like I've been a Democrat my whole life, but I agree with Trump's principles. You one, don't know what principles are, and two, if you were voting Democrat, you were very confused. If Trump's messaging worked on you and you've been voting Democrat, then I think you were confused the whole time. He puts America first, does he? What are you guys getting out of this? Strong borders, that's not a principle. You have strong borders. Extortion, love of money. I'm not going to hear about principles from Donald Trump.
And all these horrible things. It's just pathetic, really. We need to open the government. We need to pay our TSA agents. We need to feed these hungry folks and get medicine to the sick folks.
But we do need to do all those things. But everybody who's about to not have health insurance anymore, we can't do anything about that. We care about these people, but we don't care about these people. Why? Oh, we already gave that money for the healthcare subsidies. We already gave that to our billionaire friends, so we don't care about those people.
And that's what we need to be doing, and we're going to do it in a much more efficient manner. And they can't stand it because they don't have control, and they're not going to give $35 billion additional dollars to the insurance companies. So
then get what I appreciate. We the people own it. We won't support insurance parasites. Then why don't you get rid of insurance, the parasite? Why don't you get rid of the parasite? You understand that the Republicans are floating this idea now, floated by Donald Trump. Donald Trump has said all this money from the ACA subsidies goes to insurance companies. So instead of giving these ACA subsidies to insurance companies, we're going to give it to the American people so they can pay insurance subsidies. Their solution is to do the same thing. You understand that's what they're talking about, right? The Republicans' plan seems to be giving subsidies. That's what they took away subsidies, and then they want to replace it with subsidies. This is just like what Trump announced with the GLP-1s. Like, Biden made it so that Medicare could pay for GLP-1s, and then Trump got rid of it, and then introduced Medicare being able to pay for GLP-1s. And you guys none of you realize it. Their plan is to do the plan that they're undoing and call it a fix. You understand that, right? That when Trump goes on TV and he says, I don't want to get this money to go to these insurance companies, I'm going to give it to the people and they can choose which insurance provider they want. That's what the ACA marketplace is. You can choose whichever insurance provider you want and you get a subsidy. And Trump's saying, let's give them a subsidy and let them choose which insurance provider they want. I just want to be clear. There are no principles here. This is an ego thing more than anything. If you're floating that the solution to this problem is to restore the subsidies, then you're admitting that the subsidies are fine and you guys don't have a solution, which you don't, by the way. We're still waiting for a plan from Republicans. You don't have one.
Looks like Elizabeth Warren can get those contributions to their campaign. It's all legal.
I am a healthcare expert, Darren. I would imagine that of all the things that I'm an expert on politically, healthcare might be the one I know the most about. I've spent hundreds of hours studying this. It's not that hard, though. Just so we're clear, like it's like saying you're an auto insurance expert. What is auto insurance? It cuts you a check. Healthcare is not that complicated, or health insurance. You go to the doctor sends a bill to your health insurance company, they negotiate it, they send a check. It's not that, this isn't rocket science. This is just like very, very simple economics. You don't even really need to spend that much time to understand any of this. A subsidy is money from the government that goes to the healthcare companies. So if the government's going to give you money to choose your own healthcare, where's that money going? To the healthcare companies. So what's the difference? There isn't one. He just doesn't like Obamacare because it's Obama. All right, let's get rid of Tim Burchett. All right, but he's probably right. A lot of these Democrats, this was just about politics to them. Did I get this one? I'm going to skip that on Schumer because we already explained that. Let me show you Dr. Roger Marshall. I think it's very important to remember that just because somebody is a doctor doesn't mean that they understand things. Here is a doctor and a Republican talking about health insurance and not understanding that what he's about to talk about here is, one, not a bad thing, and two, shows the problem with our healthcare system.
I want to turn to talk about fraud just a little bit more.
Let's talk about it. Fraud. Let's define fraud. If we could define fraud in healthcare, guys, give me some examples in the chat of what you would call fraud. If I was going to say fraud in healthcare, I would say something like maybe a doctor billing for a service that they didn't actually provide. I would say fraud could be pretending to have a condition, like let's say ADHD, like I have ADHD. Let's say I faked it, got the test, got diagnosed. I went and I got ADHD medication and I just sold it. I had health insurance through my work. It was inexpensive. I pay my $0 copay or $25 copay. I get my pills and I sell them. That would also be fraud. Don't just say, right? Those things would be fraud. Things that you're doing to manipulate the system or get money that you're not owed or get a service that you're not owed. So he's going to talk about fraud, and then he's going to use examples that aren't fraud.
Get this, 35 to 40% of Obamacare recipients that are enrolled in Obamacare never file a claim.
That's not fraud. It's the opposite of fraud. If 40% of the people on the service don't file a claim, that's good for you and for them, because that means the insurance companies don't have to pay out as much, which, if they weren't all crooks, would lower the price. These are historically high numbers. 40% is a massive number. That means that you have healthy people who don't make a lot of money and qualify for a subsidy aren't actually using it. It also could mean that people can't afford to use their health insurance because the deductible is too high. It could also mean that people they don't really go get regular checkups. But this means that 40% of the people who were getting a subsidy weren't using the insurance for a claim, which means the insurance that you're all paying for didn't have to pay up. That means money in, but not money out. That should lower the price. That's not fraud. That's a good thing. Listen to how he turns this into fraud.
Let me say that again. There's 24 million people on Obamacare. 40% of those people never file a claim. These are ghost people.
Also, the 40% is a number that I can't find anywhere. I find 25 to 35%. That's the number I find. I think the 40% he made up.
File a claim. These are ghost people. They don't even know they're on Obamacare. They've been falsely enrolled in Obamacare.
That's crazy. You have to go on the website. You have to fill out forms. You have to select provider. You have to select a policy. You have to sign documents. You have to e-sign documents. And then the money comes out of your bank every single month. And motherfucking doctor, what kind of doctor is he? Hold on real quick. Dr. fucking Marshall wants you to believe that these people did all of that and are paying a monthly premium and they don't know that they're on it. This is what they're calling fraud now. He's a physician, family doctor. This is how stupid they think that you are. They're telling you that this thing that sounds good, meaning less people are using their insurance, is fraud and that they all were signed up for something they didn't know about. This is impossible. No, Shuckett, I can't bring you up. You can join through Discord if you'd like, but on TikTok I can't bring people up because I'm using Streamlabs because I'm streaming to TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch.
Now, some people would say, "Oh, but there's always some people that don't file a claim." It's usually more like 10%. More like 10% of people in a pool of insurance products are not filing the claim.
It's not. It's between 15 and 25%. He's just making it. Like, I don't know why he is lying about all these numbers. I've checked them all. The 40% number is a lie. The 10% number is a lie. Just be honest. But Republicans, they have this problem with their arguments. Their arguments are fucking stupid, and so they have to make them sound extreme. So they always, if a Republican is giving you a number, Google it, and I guarantee that number is wrong every single time. The number is like 10 to 15, and it's gone up recently because people can't afford to pay their deductibles. But again, this isn't fraud. This is a good thing for you if you share health insurance with somebody who's paying for health insurance and isn't using it.
This case is 35 to 40%. And overall, I think we could say that this group of people in Obamacare is a high-risk group. Big cities like Chicago have pushed...
That's also a lie. Using Obamacare doesn't make you a high-risk group. Everybody can use Obamacare. It's the Affordable Care Act marketplace. Anybody can use it, whether you are high risk or low risk. Using the ACA marketplace it's actually a useful tool. Even if you don't qualify for subsidies, it allows you to comparison shop. And if anybody has ever shopped for insurance and you've gone on a website that isn't the ACA marketplace and you've entered your information, about 5 minutes after you enter your information, you get bombarded with phone calls and emails and text messages because that goes out as a lead. And all of these insurance providers buy those leads and they have people waiting on standby to call as soon as you input that information. So the ACA, like whether you are qualified for a subsidy or not, I recommend the ACA because you're going to avoid all these high pressure sales reps, which by the way, think about that. Why do you think you don't think that also causes your health insurance premiums to go up? That there are entire call centers of people on standby that can call you within minutes of you submitting an application? Those people are all being paid. Those people will get a percentage, not only of the money that they pay to hire and pay those people hourly, but also bonuses and commissions if they sell you health insurance. That's why your health insurance is so expensive. But the ACA marketplace avoids all that stuff. It's a good thing, but that doesn't mean that it's high demand. Johnny said they need to audit the programs to see if the money is gone. Trump's only principle is to weaponize principles. Danielle said the 8 Dems that voted are not running in 2026. Just Moa said, FYI for the chat, that was a vote for closure. I think I got Marianne's as well.
People that took early retirement have pushed them onto Obamacare. These are typically sick people that have been pushed off other plans and they went towards Obamacare. And trust me, I want to address that. That's why we need a...
He has no idea what Obamacare is. He seems to think that Obamacare is this single like insurance program that people are on. Dr. Roger Marshall, representing the great people of wherever the fuck. Is he Indiana? Is that where he is? Kansas. He doesn't even know what Obamacare is. Look at him. He got all these facts and figures. He doesn't even seem to know what it is. Somebody just said both sides. Both sides. Both sides.
High risk pool that would address those types of folks as well. But the point here is that some 10 million people on Obamacare are not using it, but the federal government is getting the entire premium paid. The insurance companies are getting the entire premium paid by the federal government. So 10 million people, a premium every month. It's like a slot machine going to big insurance companies.
Huh? Add slot machines to the list of things this motherfucker doesn't understand. What was that? What was that? Do you also not know what a slot machine is? I'm not. I'm not. I don't qualify for any subsidies through the ACA. But even look at the Republicans in the chat here. You Republicans also think Obamacare is like a single policy. I don't. He just admitted. Like, did you listen to him just barely? He just admitted. Like, let's go back. After he thinks that it's all one, he says. Then he explains that it goes to private health insurance. Listen.
Chicago pushed people.
No, he's not talking about Medicaid. Because listen.
Not filing the claim. In this case, it's 35 to 40%. And overall, I think we could say that this group of people in Obamacare is a high-risk group. Big cities like Chicago have pushed people that took early retirement, have pushed them onto Obamacare. These are typically sick people that have been pushed off other plans and they went towards Obamacare. And trust me, I want to address...
Okay. So he says they pushed off other plans and they went towards Obamacare. I don't know if he let it slip here, but now listen.
That's why we need a high-risk pool that would address those types of folks as well. But the point here is that some 10 million people on Obamacare are not using it, but the federal government is getting the entire premium paid.
The federal government is getting the entire premium paid to who?
The insurance companies are getting the entire premium paid by the federal government.
The insurance companies. See, Republicans, how wrong you are? There you go, Frankie. He's not talking about Medicaid. He's talking about private insurance companies. Your whole party doesn't understand. Like, no wonder. No wonder they won't negotiate. They don't even know what the fuck they're negotiating. They have no clue. Not one. He's just reading this off of a script. He has no clue what his chart says. He has no clue how any of this stuff works. He's calling something fraud that is good and isn't fraud. There's nothing fraudulent about it. The real problem we have in this country is Republicans, the voters, and the leadership don't know how anything works. You've just been conditioned to think that universal health care bad because socialism bad. So you don't even bother learning about any of this. All right. I want to see what Hakeem Jeffries said, because Hakeem Jeffries is pissed, and he should be pissed. He doesn't have any control over the Senate, and I don't think Hakeem Jeffries is that effective of a leader. He went on with Kirsten Welker to say, like, can we guarantee, like, some of these Senate Dems are saying we're going to open up the government before Thanksgiving. Remember, just because Senate Dems voted for this doesn't mean that it's going to open up. Like, now you need people in the House to vote for this as well.
Who are suffering right now and who are, quite frankly, concerned about how they are going to put
Loretta.
Food on the table over this holiday season. How long can they expect this shutdown to continue? Can you guarantee that you will reopen the government before Thanksgiving?
We need to resolve this immediately. And here are two things.
You think it'll happen before Thanksgiving? Leader, you think it'll happen before Thanksgiving?
Well, one, I hope so. Donald Trump needs to get off the golf course and get back to the negotiating table. He spent more time golfing over the last several weeks than
Just answer the fucking question, Hakeem. We get it. We get it. You and Schumer, can you just stay on topic? Like, we get it. We don't like him. He golfs. We've heard it a million times. Is it at some point? Can you guys just knock this shit off and give us an answer? Give us some details at some point.
has talking to Democrats who represent half the country as part of an effort to find a bipartisan path forward. And by the way, we also know that House Republicans have literally canceled votes for the last 6 weeks. They've been on vacation, and they have no plans to return next week. We'll be in Washington as House Democrats, ready, willing, and able to reopen the government.
Frankie, I appreciate you being proven wrong and then screaming at me that I don't know what I'm talking about. I would have that reaction if I was a Republican who didn't know anything either. I would settle down, though, bud.
Man, to make life better for the American people and to address the health care crisis that has been devastating.
All right, great. So Jeffries has fucking nothing. So far, it's just Bernie Sanders. He seems to be the only one. Now, listen to the Republicans. Here's Dr. Oz, he's going to be the one that they're saying is tasked with coming up with a plan to fix this. Let's hear if we've got any sort of plan from Dr. Oz.
$350 billion. The full counter proposal continuing resolution rolls back the Medicaid savings of $1.5 trillion. Republicans are never going to go for that. So do you have a thought on how you want to see this play out once these subsidies do expire this year?
You always ask the right questions, Maria. So I spent a good part of the weekend with the White House working on exactly the answer to that question.
Oh, good. He took a good part of the weekend. Not the whole weekend, a good part. You could probably solve healthcare in a good part of the weekend, for sure. But what's your plan?
Lots of great ideas, but I don't want to show our cards. As the president often says, why would I telegraph to you what we're going to do? We have to have an open government. I need my...
We'll tell you later. It'll be in 2 weeks. Donald Trump has been the leader of the Republican Party since 2015, and we still don't have a plan. They still won't tell us a plan. They keep telling us that a plan's on the way. It's 2025. It's 10 years later. You still haven't shown us a plan. No plan.
Top people around to be able to navigate the right solutions. We will support the American people. We always have.
Generic.
We will do it in the right, responsible way. If we don't, it'll implode. If we hadn't fixed Medicaid with the one big beautiful bill, it would have collapsed under the weight of its increasing expense. There was a 50% increase in Medicaid spending in the last 5 years since the COVID pandemic started. We're at peace. There's no virus. We've got to reset.
So the solution to increased pricing with Medicare, because partially because they also use private health insurers, the solution to that is kick a bunch of people off of Medicare. Not lower the prices, not regulate the insurance companies, not help, just kick people off. We're spending too much on Medicaid. What should we do? What if we just kicked everybody off? That'll work.
Right-size the program with things like the Rural Health Transformation Fund, where we're pouring $50 billion into rural American healthcare in order.
$50 billion that they tried to cut out of healthcare. The Democrats made aware. Hold on one second, guys. I have standing water under my floorboards. We are going to take like a 30-second break, and I will be right back. But I do need to answer this door, and I'm going to go to the starting screen. 30 seconds. I'll be right back. There we go. Hey, guys, here's what we're going to have to do because we got to address this. Looks like there is a leak and I've got standing water. I am going to come back later today and finish the live. It may be a couple of hours. I will update you on YouTube and on Twitch. We will finish out the live today. I want to make sure that we do that, and we'll go for a couple hours, but we'll update that. We got a leak, got to get it taken care of. My maintenance guy said he can only do it now, so I've got to do it now. So I will see you guys in a couple hours. Follow either on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok. I'll put a status update, and I'll get everybody back, and we'll finish out the show a little bit later today.